Oh, nerds.
All right, so the idea being that the preface to glazing is really one of the most important things, is that you need to build your base coat that you're going to glaze over in a way that kind of over brightens it, assuming that what you're doing is glazing for hue change, like adding a different color. Like if we built this up in reds because I want a very warm purplish tone, and I built it up with dark red, medium red, and then this kind of, salmony pink color as a highlight. I want to make sure I go bright enough that the bright colors survive the glaze, because every color you glaze over the top of this is going to darken all of these colors, regardless if you regardless of the color you're putting over. It's going to change the value of a bright color into matching the color you glaze or darker. So over amplify your brights. And so these are kind of dull. So we know that because the brightness on this cloak is not like non-metallic bright, we know that it's going to dull down when I put the purple. So this brightness is going to be a level lower, or 2 or 3 levels lower. If I'm going to glaze royal purple, right? It's a medium value color. I would call this, if 0 is black and 10 is white, I'm going to call this maybe a 5. Okay. So we're going to glaze this over the top. So it's going to darken our bright spots, turn our red spots towards purple. And really what you're trying to do with glazing is thin this color out enough to where you can build that color up to match your expectations. Some people can do it in one pass. Some people do 15 or 20. I'm going to show you the technique that I use that generally is trying to glaze and finish the job in 3 coats max. Okay. So the first thing we do is we just put the paint that we're going to glaze with out on the palette. I'll do it over here. Whoop. Then I'm going to load a brush. I'm going to use a big brush because when I'm glazing, it's kind of like base coating in the sense where the first layer is just trying to cover everything in this case. So I'm just get my number 6 and I'm going to fill it with however much water it'll hold, right? So I rinse it in my cup and it's just got however much water it holds. I'm just going to touch. I'm not going to add the water to the droplet. That's a big mistake. You always want to start with the paint the way it is right out of the bottle. So I'm just going to touch the edge of the paint and see how that water starts to cause all that paint to flow out of the droplet. So it's thinning, but it's not ruining the paint itself. This paint is still usable as full opacity. So this I'm pulling off of the edge down here, and then, lots of water in it. Now I've got a glaze, right? A glaze is not really a product. It's a technique, but now I can glaze with this paint. It's going to be very, very thin. The first major step that I want to do is I want to come over here. I use my thumb palette, and I'm just going to take a lot of that moisture off. See how there's so much moisture that it beads up on my skin? That's too much moisture to just put on the model. A lot of people make the mistake of taking this very thin, low viscosity, watery paint and just going straight to the model with it. That causes a problem because now it's going to have all of that paint slide into recesses. It's uncontrollable. But by taking most of it off over here, now everything that I have on my brush is just the pigment. And so then I come back over to my surface and I'm just going to start covering this area up. And look at that. I get an immediate sort of magenta move of that highlight right there. See? And the thing with glazing, I just want to make sure that I don't stop in any open area. We talked about that the other day. I want to just make sure I'm continuing to cover everything up with one good coat, then move on to the next area, cover it up with one good coat. Make sure I don't get any pooling. You notice how if I flick the brush here at the end, see how that pools up right there? Just take your brush and move that away. Right? Make sure you get all of the areas covered. Come back and get some more. Again, wipe it off on my thumb palette and then glaze this first one. I will typically start with a very transparent initial layer just to start seeing how the color is affecting my base coat. So I don't put a ton of color on there at once. Okay. This is kind of like that just do this video where that first coat is thin. And so there's a first coat of glaze, and you can see how I've started moving my red to purple. Now, you're doing this with a very thin, very loose, and open paint, so you're going to need to let it dry a little bit longer. If you go immediately back over this with another coat, you see how it's still shiny. You can tear your paint, meaning you'll move this layer we just painted if you go right back over it with more wet paint. Because we have so much water or thinner, whatever case you're using in this. So you just want to give it some time to dry. It will dry pretty quick because it is so thin, right? So you'll already notice that the sheen is going away and it's starting to become more matte, right? So it's just as you can see on the red, just shifting the color slightly. Now, the second layer, okay, I think we're good now. It's pretty dry. The second layer, I'm going to still load up my brush with how much water it can hold, right? Then I'm going to wipe it on my paper towel over here once, twice. Then I'm going to pull a little bit more regular paint down into this watery puddle that I already had. So now I know that's not going to be quite as translucent. I'm adding more opacity to it, but it's still see-through. I can tell because as I wipe it around on my glass palette, I can still see through it. Then I come over to my hand. I got this nice area of brown where we were painting that bronze. So I'm going to use that as a way to go, look at that. Look how much more intense my purple is, but I'm still being able to see through it. So now on this one, I'll say, okay, perfect. I'm going to start this up in the shadows. I've got more purple now. I'm going to start glazing in the shadows. I've taken a lot of the moisture off, so the paint just goes where I want it to go. Put it up in the darker recesses. Like so. Again, making sure I don't get any tremendous buildup anywhere. Like that. Now my shadows are starting to move towards a really nice purple. Now I'm going to take off more material over on my thumb, and then I'll start covering the rest of my areas. The reason I do that is now I can control the intensity even more. It won't be as purple out on the bright red areas because I have less paint. Right? And again, use the same brushstroke direction with each of these just so I can keep with the texture that I've already painted and fill in that area where the red was. And boom. So now I'm starting to get more purple in my shadows because that's where I went with the heavier load. And then I wiped some off and glazed it over the top. And notice I'm getting a pretty good movement towards my royal purple. Definitely in the shadows. You can see that royal purple sat in there really nice. And this is just a repeat as necessary to get what you want. If I just wanted to shift it to this really cool magenta like I did, I could be done. 2 coats and I got a really good color change from the red. Or I could continue to build it up. What I would suggest is if you were looking for more of a purple, like I'll do this in one more deal. I'll wipe the brush, do the same water load, pull more paint down to where now I've got even more opacity. And again, on my test area, see how I've got more purple? I can still see through it there, right? But now more opacity. You can just use this and you say, no, I really want a lot more purple. And I can just put this on and go over the entire area. One of the big keys is making sure your brush strokes all go in the same direction. You're moving the paint. You're not slopping it around. Keep it consistent. And now this third coat, there's only 3 coats of paint. This third coat has changed the color of this thing entirely to where now it's like I blended the red and the royal purple together. And I've got this really nice kind of mid-tone plum, we'll call it. And that's 3 coats. But if we wanted to take like the orange red and glaze that back over the top, I can show you how to do that. Now I'll shift down to a little bit of a smaller brush with my number 3 from the number 6 in a little bit more of a controlled area. Again, however much water the brush can hold, pull out a tail out of the side of the droplet here. And depending on how opaque I want, I'll keep intruding the water into the droplet a little bit. I like that. That feels like that'll be about right. And then the nice thing with my thumb palette is I already see the purple I have, and then I can see how that red's going to interact, right? Get all that material off, that excess moisture off the brush, and now I know what I've got. So once my brush is correct, then I can come here and I have a lot of texture in this, so I'm going to try to follow along with that. But then I can just kind of bring the red. I want to start in the darker color up here and pull the red out towards the highlight because it's no more evident than when glazing that the bulk of your pigment stays where you stop your brush stroke. Okay? Make sense? So I want to start up in the purple and then pull it here because more of my red will stay at the end of my brush stroke. And just a very little brush pressure and just whisking the brush towards the end. And then I'm bringing a little bit more red back into the top of the fold there. And the nice thing with glazing is that the place where you touched your brush lightly in the purple and then you press a little harder as you get towards the edge, that light touch at the background just blends automatically into the back. So you don't have to do any feathering or anything. I mean, I guess that's technically what feathering is, right? And I can just do this a couple of times. Shorten my brush stroke each time. So I'm bringing more red just to the edge of the fold. And there I've got, in 2 coats, I've brought the highlight back to red with that plum in the background. Noticing that each time I layer more paint, I'm losing more of my contrast with my texture here because I'm covering up that bright color more and more. So that's why I say typically not glazing in 15 layers is a good thing because you start to lose all of what you were glazing over if you had any contrast. If you were just doing it for color, then that's fine. But in a lot of cases, starting with a value sketch, something that had the brightness on it already, like what we had, helps a lot. You'll see that even after this is now 5 coats of glaze, I still have that initial texture of those brush strokes that were from the original paint job, and that brightness still is evident.
Yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, glazing's easy.
Yeah. Next question.
Best education you'll ever get right here, monumenthobbies.com.